Hello, and welcome to Advent of Code in Random Programming Languages. This is the second take at this because being random programming languages, I got screwed pretty hard, and I did not realize how bad it could be. But we're back. I initially rolled, here's my language list, so we have a wonderful set of 24 languages. Used to be 25, should have been 12. I did not know that there would only be 12 days of puzzles this year. I thought there were going to be 25, so I prepared 25 languages, and I was very excited about it. And then I rolled Lisp, and then I was not excited about it because I couldn't figure out how to open a file in Lisp. I mean, Lisp not being a programming language, I had to switch which Lisp I was using 3 times to try to open a file, and I still couldn't do it. So, we are not going to be doing Lisp. I think OCaml and, do I have Haskell on here? Oh, I don't. You know what, let's add Haskell. As a replacement, of course. And languages current. Did I remove Lisp from this one too? Yes, I did. Where did I put it after OCaml? Okay. So we'll add Haskell as a replacement, but I'm not too worried about these functional languages because Lisp is a very theory language, and yeah, it was not very fun. But I have done Lisp in like Emacs before and a little bit of like GUIX, so I do like Lisp for things where it makes sense, but trying to solve these problems with it is pretty much disastrous. But let's go into the problem. Actually, first let's find out what language we're going to use, right? So we are going to let's new, and then let's do this. Yes. So if you see, I'm going to get rid of the get 0. See, this produces a randomly shuffled list of these languages, and we can get the first one. JavaScript. Okay, we can do JavaScript. That is very eminently doable. Obviously a really boring day one, I think. Very boring, but let's do that. So let's read about the problem. Day 1, secret entrance. The elves have good news and bad news. The good news is that they've discovered project management. I don't know if that's good news. This has given them the tools they need to prevent their usual Christmas emergency. For example, they now know that the North Pole decorations need to be finished soon, so that other critical tasks can start on time. The bad news is that they've realized that they have a different emergency. According to their resource planning, none of them have had any time left to decorate the North Pole. To save Christmas, the elves need you to finish decorating the North Pole by December 12th. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be available on each day. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Good luck. You arrive at the secret entrance to the North Pole base, ready to start decorating. Unfortunately, the password seems to have changed, so you can't get in. Blah, blah, blah. New security protocols. The safe has a dial with only an arrow on it. Around the dial are the numbers 0 through 99 in order. As you turn the dial, it makes small click noise. Sure. A rotation starts with an L or an R to indicate the direction of the rotation. Left towards lower numbers, right towards higher numbers. Rotation has a distance value, which indicates how many clicks the dial should be rotated. So if the dial were pointing at 11, R8 would put it to 19. L19 would cause it to point to 0. Okay. Because the dial is a circle, turning the dial left from 0 1 click makes it point to 99, and similarly turning the dial right from 99 makes it point to 0. So if the dial were pointing at 5, a rotation of L10 would cause it to point at 95. After that, a rotation of R5 could cause it to point at 0. The dial starts by pointing at 50. Okay, JavaScript REPL. Is there like a very simple Dino? Let's do Moo.js. Can we do Moo.js? Yeah. I think this makes sense for just pure JavaScript. So let's do test input. So the number of times the dial left. Okay, so security entrance training seminar taught you that the safe is actually a decoy. The actual password is the number of times the dial is left pointing at 0 after any rotation in the sequence. Okay, and here's an example, and there's a test input, so let's grab that, throw that in the test, and then in the real input, we can get our puzzle inputs, and that's 4,779 lines. And let's do part1.js. Okay, well, we're starting it out easy. That's actually bad because they get harder as they go, so you actually want hard languages early, so this kind of sucks. But I should be able to do basic JS. I actually haven't done JavaScript in a while, so I'll have to rack my brain a little bit, but JavaScript's very intuitive. It should be pretty simple. First, let's grab new.js. It's like a super okay, and if we like console.log, oh, I even have the LSP. So if we do that and then we new.js, oh, JS part 1. Okay, excellent. So as we can see, we can easily now just script. Okay, the question is, how are we going to open a file? This is actually somewhat interesting. So JavaScript open a file new.js. It should actually be file reader. Yes, the problem is that it's part of the web spec. So let's see. Like the browser, like this is supposed to run in a browser, which kind of has its own file system. And so it doesn't really have the concept of, let's see, file reader interface lets web applications asynchronously read the contents of files stored on the user's computer using file or blob objects to specify the file or data to read. I'm not sure that's actually what we want, because we want to read files on the server, official, like technically. Yeah, and like we don't have HTML or anything. So none of this really makes sense. Like it would probably be in Vue.js. Maybe we should use something like Node then, or like a bun or Node thing, but I just wanted to, like, I feel like this is just so much more lightweight, pure JavaScript, that it's kind of what we want. Ah, that, see, but this is get element in like a HTML file. It's like definitely not what we want. Okay, so let's do something really stupid. We are going to do the dumbest thing ever. Wait, open opens a URL. Can we open input? Open is not defined. Oh, okay. Okay, we're gonna say this. Const input equals JavaScript multi-line string. Here we go. Multi-line string. Single quotes. Hello, where's multi-line string? Okay, there it is. It's a backtick. And we are going to put in these backticks. We are just going to put the entire test input in there for now. And later we will just put the entire input in here. And that's that. And then we can probably console.log input and really? Am I crazy? Template literals. I mean, isn't this exactly what we want? Or am I crazy? Okay, the other way to do this is that we say this, and then we say this, and all of these end in \n. Okay, let's actually just do this for these ones. And then all of these will have a plus appended to them. And that one starts on that line. This one is irrelevant. This would technically work, right? I still don't get that. Is that a Mu.js thing? Unexpected token. I don't think that that's like a... Oh. It didn't like my const. Okay. Well, I mean, there was there were much easier ways to tell me that. Let's see if we put back this, and then we put in our lovely input, test input actually, like that. No, it does not support this. Okay, maybe Mu.js was a bad idea. All right, can like bun run a single file? Bun run single file execution bun. Okay, yeah, it does work. So let's just try that. So I'm gonna leave this, and then we're going to go into a shell with bun part1.js. Input is not defined. True. Bun open a file. File IO and bun. Okay, here we go. So you can see we can actually say const foo equals bun.file, and we'll get input or test input, and then we can, and this is input. And we should be able to actually print that. Yes. And we can probably print the size of it. Yes. Okay, so that works much better. And it's async. Okay, but we can just say await input dot text. And there we have it. Wonderful. So the other problem with the JavaScript is that there's effectively like no standard library, or very little, like JavaScript library, or string methods. Okay. How am I going to find like any of this though? This is the... Okay, this is probably where I want to be. So we have the thing as text now, so we can just say like const input text equals that, and like it'll still run. So the question is, now we have this, but now we need to split it into lines. So we can dot text this, we can dot JSON this, dot bytes this, writing files, but this shouldn't really cover any of the stuff that I want. No, it doesn't. Streams could, so, but I assume the whole point of having a stream is that it's asynchronous, which we actually don't want. So let's see. Split. Okay. So let's do some functional style of JavaScript. So we're gonna do. So first we're going to be logging everything in here effectively, or whatever the value of this is. So input text dot split on a new line. So let's do that. Excellent. Is there an extra new line at the end of this? No, it is just inserting one. Okay. That's fine though, we can work with that. So we've split them. Now we need to take the first slice 31. Okay, but we probably want this unless there's just like a dot first or something. Dot trim. Okay. Trim end, trim start, value of. So is there a way to built-in objects array? So I believe we have an array right now. Actually, we have an undefined, apparently. Sure. But we have an array. So can you iterate an array functionally? Dot for each, yes, you can. So dot for each item index or stir index. And let's make a var sum. So this is what we can do in here. Item is not defined. Yep, it's stir. And there we go. Okay. So that is fine. So now we have each string as a string. So we can get rid of this. Do we need to capture the index? That's like a good question. So like if we just don't do that. Correct. We can just capture the string. And the last one is undefined. So that's useful. So instead of console.logging the string, we will stir.something the string. Let's so now we're going to go back to these string methods and let's see what we can do with this. So we want to do at probably. Yeah, so stir.at 0. What is that? Undefined apparently. Why does that not work? Ah, I see. Okay. But we do want 0. Okay. So let's let direction equal this. And let's actually make it be like let's see, does enum. Is there an enum in JavaScript? Yes. So const directions equals left L and right R. And if I understand that correctly, can we say like if direction equals right console.log right else. We should probably do. Right is not defined. Okay. So we now know what we're doing. So we have sum and we also have dial. And dial starts at 50. And it's obviously mutable. The last one is apparently left, but that's, yeah. Can we just drop the last one? How do we do that with the array? Is there just remove pop? Removes the last element. Okay, let's just do that. Dot split this dot pop. Does pop not return a... and returns that element. Okay, yeah, we don't want to return an undefined. Reduce. Oh, well, we'll figure it out as we go. I mean, we can also just say, like, for each if stir undefined, or I guess like if not stir. Continue. Can we do that? Can you not continue into for each? Go to. No. Maybe if stir. We do any of this. Right, that should work. Yeah, that works fine. So now we have something working at least, and we know if we're going left or right. So if we're going right, we're going to add the number remaining. So let's see, string, is there like a parse or like int? I mean, I guess you can just, you just cast it like effectively and it just works. Or am I crazy? Let's see. JavaScript string to int. Parseint. Okay, there is a parseint. So let value equals parseint of stir, but it's stir dot sub or whatever. What was it? I think it was dot sub or dot subster. There we go. Yep. So subster 1, 2, or yeah, subster 1 is what we want. Right. Okay, excellent. So now we know exactly what we're doing. And then we will say if it is right, dial plus equals value. But it plus equals value and then dial mod 99. 99 mod 99 is wait, what? In JavaScript, I guess, is all I care about. Okay, that's a 0. So we want mod 100. Yeah, okay. That is what I thought, but I needed to confirm it. And can we mod equal? Is that a valid operator? I hope so. Yeah, it looks like it. We'll just do this after. Left, we minus equal it. And then we say if dial is 0, sum plus plus. I swear if there's no increment operator. Okay, there is. Holy shit. We're huge. Dot print or log sum. So it was 3. And I think that's correct, if I'm not mistaken. So 3 was that. Let's try it on the real inputs. Maybe there's an edge case that I'm missing, but I hope not. 1147. I have achieved my first gold star. Excellent. All right, part 2. Let's see how much harder it is. So, you're sure that's the right password, but the door won't open. You knock, but nobody answers. You build a snowman while you think. As you're rolling the snowballs for your snowman, you find another security document that must have fallen into the snow. Due to the newer security protocols, please use password method hex until further notice. You remember from the training seminar that the method this means it's actually no, it's not like a dead meat or something. Like, it's not like a word hidden in the hex. It's missed opportunity. Means you're actually, or dead beef, that's it. If you don't know this, it's or I guess it's like this. This is like a classic. Okay, nope, that is not what I was looking for. But you can see it, you'll see it in certain code, like here. I guess actually it's not with 3 is the important specification. Yeah, dead beef. And yeah, you can see this is there's a whole bunch of these. Dead beef is a classic. This is like an error message basically that you put in hex, so that when you can't get a real error, you dump the hex and then you see this in the hex dump and you know that it's a dead dude. Deadfall. But yeah, that's a fun little thing. I was hoping maybe they did something like that for this, but nope. You remember from your training session and blah blah blah. Any click, okay, count the number of times any click causes the dial to point to 0, regardless of whether it happens during a rotation or at the end of one. Okay. Following the same rotations as in the above example, the dial points at 0 a few extra times during its rotations. Starts at 50. During this rotation, it points at 0 once. And I guess, so the question is, okay, if the dial were pointing at 50, a single rotation like R1000 would cause the dial to point at 0 10 times before returning back to 50. This is important, yes. So what we need to do is that, so right now the dial %100 is the dial, right? Percent equals 100 after the rotation. What we actually need to do is we need to figure out, so if the dial is 0, we increment some. True. And this is going to be an edge case, so we're actually going to leave this, because in every other edge case, it means that it passed over it. Right, every other case it passed through it. If it just is like 1 minus 1, the mod trick, because what we're going to do is we're going to floor divide and calculate the number of total rotations. Right. Yeah. So before we do this, we're going to do dial, what, do we have / operator in JavaScript? What, can we like bun REPL? Yeah, we can. Oh my god, okay. Experimental even. Okay, let's see. Let's log 120 / 100. Okay, but percent works, right? So what's a JavaScript floor int divide? Math.floor. So I know we want something like this. So math.floor and math.trunk. So this is basically what we want. We can use bitwise operations. That's kind of funny. But no, we just want, okay, so yeah, we'll do math.floor dial divided by 100. And this will tell us, so 99 will not succeed, which is correct. 100 will produce 1, which means it had to pass through 0 one time. Yes. But we actually need to check for this first, because otherwise it will count this twice. It only does this if it's exactly 0, like we shifted left onto 0, I think. But this will do sum plus equals that, I think. And let's try that on the test input. So that produced -4, which is definitely not correct. What? Oh, because it's a negative number. Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize that that was happening. Okay. That's good. So we'll still sum plus equals this, but how about we like math.abs that? And I think that should mean it doesn't matter. 8. So the new password would be 6. So what if we just get rid of that? Okay, then we get 6. Is that correct though? Like, what if we have, I'm just going to test this. What if we move left 50 at the start? So we got 5. Here, let's just try this. 0. Yes, this doesn't work because this should be 1. Right? Which is why I had sum plus equals like this, right? But apparently that results in a bunch of false positives. When is that happening? So let's just like, oh, okay, so this needs to be ABS'd every time. But not actually. A negative value implies, so yeah, this is just wrong. But I mean, it worked on part 1, which implies that negative values actually work correctly in the sense that you can mod them and it works. But the division trick doesn't work for them. I mean, it would, right? Okay. I mean, I'm more like, -1 is actually 99. So if dial is less than 0, dial equals dial less than 0, or if dial less than 0, dial equals 100 minus plus dial. Or I guess this way. But then that's going to lose all of the data. Yeah, no, that doesn't work either. Okay. -18. So let's go back into a pun REPL. Okay. -18 divided by 100. Math.floor is -1. So this would be 1, which is correct. The dial does not equal 0. Sure. So now we're at -18 and we shift left 30, which drives us to -48. Oh, I see what's happening. Yeah, -48 by 100 is that. Yeah, math.floor just has that. Math.trunk is actually what we want. That is all. It's just because it's the negative numbers. Now we get 3 at the end. And that is actually the answer that it's giving us, which is, of course, still wrong. So, of course, the question is, why is that? So the first one is 0, for example. Okay, so I think the key here is that all negative numbers need to be accounted for. Pretty much. Also, real quick, what happens if we do -50% 100? We get -50. Okay. I mean, that's pretty bad, so... So we have to handle negative numbers completely differently, I suppose. Or else they don't make any sense. I don't really know. I'm definitely overthinking this for day one. Obviously, there's like a couple very easy solutions, which I do realize. I mean, obviously, the very easy solution is that you can just separate. You can just turn this into a loop where it moves one at a time and then just check for 0 every single time. That's like a very easy solution. But I feel like I want to do a better solution. Better solution than that. A superior solution to that, you could even say. But I'm not really sure how to wrap my head around this problem specifically. So right now, so actually we can fix this. Oh no. Anytime we get any negative number, it should increment by 1. I guess. Or, no, not 1 though. Right, like, it should actually increment by this much. But, plus equals, yeah, so dial less than or equal to 0. If we do that, we'll get 9 because we actually get too many. But that's because we need to... So for example, this doesn't actually, because what we need to do then is after we percent equals 100, then we have to say if dial is less than 0, dial equals 100 plus dial. Or I guess you could say dial plus equals 100. And now we get 8. That's still wrong though. We rotate left 62 and we end with 82. So let's log the dial here. Go to negative 18, we have 82. And let's console.log sum after each one. So we have L33, L68, that gives us one sum. To point at 52. Yes, it points at 52. Then right 48. It points at 100. Or it points at 0. R48, it points at 0. We increment by 1. Left 5 to point at 95. Ah. So if we start from 0, see, this is a weird logical case. Because if you start on 0, then you don't pass through 0. So again, 0 is a special case. So I guess we actually just don't increment when we're on 0. Like this. Except that then we will fall short 1 because... so that works. I think it's randomly working. I don't think it actually works. Yeah, this is still saying that it's incrementing. So that's just wrong. It's just not counting the last one, or it's not counting one of the last ones. Yeah, this one it's not counting because it's on 0. So no, that doesn't fix it, but when it's on 0, so before we rotate, Isn't that exactly what floor was doing? Yes. A logic simplification. I think. I'm pretty sure that's a logic simplification. I mean, yes. Okay, so we rotate left to 82. We have 1. Passes through 0 once. Right 48 to point at 0. 2. Rotate left to point at 95. 3. So before we rotate, if dial is 0 right now, before we're going to rotate, sum minus equal 1. Right. That is how we do this. Now we get 5. Okay, so we're we're getting every single answer except the correct one. So what's going wrong now? So we rotate left 68, we get 1. We rotate right 48, we get 2. We rotate left 5, we don't get 1, which is correct. The dial is rotated to R60 to point at 55. During this rotation, it points at 0 once. Okay, I'm guessing it just didn't count the last one. I think it did though, right? So 3 on R right 60. Yep. 4 on L55 because it points at it. Then 5 at 99. And then right 14 to point at 14. And left 82. Oh, shit, okay. No. So this, here, let's just do like, let 0 equals dial equals 0. Then sum plus equals not 0 and this. Let's do that. 6. Okay. So that's how we specifically encode that. I think this is still wrong. I was thinking of an edge case earlier that I haven't encountered in this. Let's just try it though. I think it's wrong though, because of certain edge cases that I haven't accounted for. Nope, never mind. All right, that is day 1. So if we return to my advent calendar, we have day 1 completed. Rather excellent. I thought there was an edge case I wasn't accounting for. Oh, I also forgot to save part 1 and part 2 separately. Let me do that real quick, and then I'll upload this to GitHub as well. So let's write part2.js here. And then in part1.js, let's just try to bring back my, I believe this is it. $11.47, was that my solution? Yes. Okay. Okay, so I don't have remote here. Let's do that real quick. All right. Get remote set URL. Or add origin main or add origin. There we go. So that should be pushed. And we should see beautiful day one. And in languages current, we are going to remove JavaScript. So now we will get something different next time. And I don't really know what, but that's okay. We will figure it out. I don't know if this was actually entertaining, but hopefully so, in some way. You can probably solve this problem in like one line in JavaScript, to be honest. But all right. I will see you guys tomorrow when we attempt the next programming language, and we will see what it is. All right. Until then, see you.